Good morning. How's everybody doing today? All right. At least it's not raining. First of all, first announcement is there are handouts back on the counter where the bar is. So encourage you to get the handouts. My name is Shap Smith. I am the moderator of the town of Morrisville. And it's my great pleasure today to serve as the moderator for Community Meeting Day, a great event that was started a number of years ago to help us all join together, learn about issues on the ballot, and get the opportunity to actually eat pie, which is pretty cool. So, couple of things that I'd like to remind folks of. If you would please silence your cell phones, except for emergency response personnel. I'd note that this meeting is being recorded and will be available on GMA TV's channel, so keep it clean. I want to introduce the people to my left. We have Brent Raymond, who is our town manager. We have Tina Sweet, who's the finance director for the town of Morristown. We have the select board members Don McDowell, Richard Craig, Laura Streets, George Cormier, and Leah Hollenberger. Seated at the table in the back from the town of Morristown, we have Sarah Haskins, who is the town clerk and treasurer, Judy Elberry, who is the executive assistant, Adele Taplin, who's the economic and community development director. We have copies of the agenda, budget sheets, and local option tax educational materials, again, at the town table, and I believe at the bar back there. Please stop by at the town table if you have any questions or need assistance. I also have some other announcements and thank yous. I want to recognize the members of the Morristown Soccer Club Eurotrip team who are serving the pie for breakfast as a fundraiser today. Donations. Buy a lot of pie because donations go towards their 2026 trip to Spain and are greatly appreciated. This is an amazing tradition for the town. The Morristown Soccer Club has brought probably hundreds of kids to Europe, and it's just an amazing thing that doesn't happen in every community. New this year, at the end of this meeting, there will be an announcement of the 2025 town report dedication, and that will be read in full by Don McDowell. We'd ask that you stay for the recognition. Town clerk's office is holding a raffle for 2026 Morristown Dog Tag #1. Okay, so visit the town table to enter. The drawing will take place shortly after 11 a.m. Following the presentations, you must be present to win. Okay, so as a reminder, and one of the reasons that we have this meeting is that Morristown now elects all town and school officials by Australian ballot. Candidates must submit a consent of candidate form and a nominating petition with 30 signatures of registered Morristown voters. I could just say, as a member of the Board of Civil Authority, we very much appreciate having your name on the ballot, because otherwise we do a lot of write-ins. I was scolded a couple of years ago myself because I did not get my petition in as moderator. I believe, Shelley, you're working on that this year, right, for me? Okay, yeah. So the deadline to submit the petitions is 5 p.m., Monday, January 26th, 2026. That is coming up very soon. Petitions and information are available at the town clerk's table. I want to say on behalf of the town of Morristown, thank you to the VFW for the use of this room and their assistance, and to all the volunteers who helped coordinate and set up today's event. I also want to thank Peter Guillen, GMA TV, for providing audio and video support. So thanks, everybody. So I want to now review the rules of procedure for today's meeting. We are going to follow Robert's Rules of Order during the meeting. Anyone wishing to speak must come to the microphone and state their full name. All comments must be addressed to the moderator. Remarks must be limited to the merits of the question. If you've already spoken on a topic, you will not be recognized again until others have had an opportunity to speak. Each speaker is allowed 2 minutes per turn and may speak no more than 2 times per minute or per topic. A timekeeper will be present to ensure fairness, and I just want to warn you in advance, I'm relatively militant about the time, and so I will gavel you down, right, Kathy DeMars, if you speak over the amount of time. So, and I'm not doing that because I glory in power. It's just, it's really important for us to have the meeting go efficiently. So, so finally, please feel free to continue enjoying coffee and pie during the meeting. So we'll now move into the meeting agenda, and that's with regard to the warned articles. And first, for the review of the budget and time financials, I'll turn it over to Brent Raymond, who will provide a brief overview.
Can I just move this for a minute? Yeah. I don't need a gavel, so I'll just move that temporarily. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here this morning. On an almost daily basis, I'm humbled by the residents of this community, as well as the civil servants that I have the pleasure of working with. The passion and the dedication is inspiring. I'm here to give fast facts on a more than $10 million budget, which will be difficult. I'll try not to bore you and glaze your eyes over. I invite anybody to contact me. I'm happy to meet with anybody who has questions. I had a much more robust budget presentation in December, and this is just meant to provide some fast facts and give you all some overall information about the budget. So with every budget cycle, we are once again faced with challenges of balancing competing priorities, making very difficult, very hard choices, and ensuring that our limited resources are directed towards Morristown's most essential needs. Meeting these challenges requires creativity and collaboration. We must continue seeking opportunities to partner with our community organizations. It's wonderful to see so many here today. Nonprofit service providers, local businesses, and neighboring municipalities, working together in ways that strengthen services and support the well-being of the entire community. While this proposed budget reflects disciplined fiscal planning, it does not fully resolve and address the extensive backlog of deferred maintenance on our roads, bridges, municipal buildings, and other infrastructure, and it certainly does not meet the recreational needs that this community deserves. In addition, it means that for at least another year, Morristown will not have a dedicated recreation employee focused solely on activities for residents of all ages. And it also means that multiple other departments, such as the highway department, will be short a position for another year. I do remain committed to working closely with the Select Board and with the community to identify sustainable solutions that will allow us to fully address the impacts and rising costs associated with years of deferred maintenance, and providing solutions for needed resources, such as recreation. For everyone here on a Saturday morning, I know I'm preaching to the choir. You, Morristown residents, are the most committed to our community. And when I state the obvious, that many of the challenges we face cannot be solved by government alone, particularly during difficult economic and inflationary times, with limited funding and finite resources, local government must make difficult decisions while also pursuing new solutions and partnerships to continue delivering essential services. Residents, businesses, community organizations, and volunteers all play an essential role in governance and civic life. So with that, I'll dive into a high-level summary of the proposed budget. My proposed budget in December has already been likely amended by the Select Board because of the pressures, the increases that residents would have seen if they had followed my budget to a T. When I submitted it to the community, I was fully aware that the Select Board would have to make difficult decisions, and they're in the process of doing that. And today is an opportunity for you to all learn about some of the difficult decisions that are being made and to share with the Select Board and myself any concerns and feedback you may have. So with that, we'll start with general government. Insurance. Property, workers' comp, and unemployment insurance is expected to increase almost $100,000 year over year. That's a 20% increase. Salaries and benefits. Salaries are projected to increase by a little over 4%, or $38,381 for general government. Again, my proposed budget does not include funding for a full-time recreation employee. Health insurance, good news, decreased an average of 4.6%. We have moved from Blue Cross Blue Shield, a bronze plan, to MVP, a bronze plan. We explored multiple options, including self-insurance and other hybrid models. Unfortunately, we are stuck on the exchange, but even with moving to Blue Cross Blue Shields to MVP on the exchange, we are creating a cost savings. Communications and computers, very important as we try to keep labor costs controlled. So software programs are increasing $10,000 or approximately 18% due to new software purchases for payroll, zoning, and human resources to address ever complicated human resources requirements and zoning. Our goal is to improve efficiencies and to control labor costs. Other purchase services increased by almost $18,000 projected, primarily due to hiring contracted AV operators to meet open meeting law requirements. A mandate that I think all of you will agree is important. It's invaluable to a democracy, but it is a mandate that does cost money. Rather than relying on full-time employees to staff mostly evening meetings, often at overtime rates, we've moved to per diems, part-time personnel. This increases the costs for purchase services, adding to payroll, but it hopefully will reduce overtime costs and will be a cost savings. Other costs are included in this line item, such as payrolls and benefits broker to facilitate benefits administration, and this represents a year-over-year increase. The intent, again, is to reduce overall overtime costs. Professional services, we are budgeting to increase by $50,000. I've been involved since I began, actually before I officially began, in May of 2024, with a new union contract, and 20 months later, we're still negotiating that contract. We are projecting some costs for negotiation consultation and other project consultations and legal services. You'll hear from me later about how we are controlling costs, and I'm very proud of that, and I want to give credit to all the department heads that work very hard to ensure that their costs are contained, but there are some costs that we can't control. This is an example. The county tax has increased to $104,352 for the next fiscal year. That's a 7.5% increase. In police, other administrative expenses increased by $20,000 or 100%, but this increase is fully offset by a corresponding $20,000 revenue line from the state's Special Investigations Unit. Communications and technology for the police department increased $13,000 approximately, or 11.5%. The contract for the police department's Axon taser and body cameras increased $15,500 for this next fiscal year. I'm sure you all agree, the police department certainly does, that body cameras are invaluable. They're invaluable to our police officers and to our community, and they're a good thing. But once again, the costs are substantial. The Axon contract, which included tasers and body cams with cloud video storage, increased from $47,500 for 5 years to $195,000, or approximately $39,000 per year, a substantial increase for a valuable tool for our law enforcement. Fire. Denny does an amazing job year after year controlling the fire department's budget and keeping morale high. We have, a lot of communities in Vermont struggle to find volunteer firefighters. Morristown is truly gifted to have a fire department that is well-staffed with volunteers and professionals. The fire department overall budget is expected to increase 1.7% year over year. There's no big increases or decreases for me to highlight. EMS personnel, when I came on board, I was shocked by literally the handful of professional full-time staff we had on EMS. And in my first year here, if I didn't have budgetary concerns, I probably would have hired, if not 2, 3 new full-time equivalents for our EMS. The hours that these individuals put in and the services they provide to this community and to neighboring communities is incredible. It cannot be overstated how fortunate we are to have such professionals. Unfortunately, I was not last year able to hire 2 or 3. We went with 1 new hire, and we came to an agreement, and actually one of the EMS personnel came to management and recommended that we hire per diems so that we could cut the number of hours that staff were working and also cut overtime that was being paid. So for personnel, for next fiscal year, we're estimating an increase of approximately $41,000 or a 5% increase. Again, we have hired multiple per diems for EMS to attempt to reduce overtime and supplement our hardworking but small team of EMS professionals. Repair and maintenance services for EMS is going up 130%, an increase of approximately $9,000 for purchasing service contracts for monitors and stretchers and other capital equipment that are very expensive to replace and to repair. Those service contracts are also expensive, but should save our taxpayers money. Communications replacement equipment. Every department had to make hard decisions. Tina and I went back to every department head and asked them to find cuts that made sense. I don't believe in deferring purchases. I don't believe in deferred maintenance. So we try to do that in a way that we reduce the risk to the community and having, old equipment break down and us not to be able to provide services to the community. Last year, for example, the highway department deferred an equipment purchase for a very old, I believe, 20-year-old piece of equipment, approximately 20 years old. That didn't work out. In the middle of the year, it broke down, and there was nobody able to service the equipment because it was so old. Jordan was able to find a lightly used piece of equipment, and we were fortunate for that. It didn't really impact our capital budget, except that we had removed it from last fiscal year. But year over year, for the next 5 years or so, it won't have an impact. But these are the things that we need to balance as we're making decisions on investments. So for communications replacement equipment for EMS, it's decreased $8,000 or 100%, but that's being done by not purchasing radios this year to help with budget constraints. Machinery and equipment replacement, that's increased by approximately $12,000 or 11%. We are financing a new monitor defibrillator. This is the first year of what will be a 3-year agreement. And highway. This summer, the highway department completed an aggressive road repair schedule, partially resulting from freeing up staff by contracting a hauler to move sand and gravel from Duhamel Pit. That was a new budget line item cost last year, but it paid off in substantial dividends this summer, as several weeks of our highway department hauling gravel from Duhamel Pit in trucks that aren't efficient. Instead, we paid a third-party contractor, and we freed up weeks and weeks of time for our highway department to focus on deferred maintenance, culverts, roads, prepping for the paving initiative that we began last year. This is just one example of practical efficiencies and problem solving we are looking at implementing. We're always looking for solutions, and I look for those solutions not only from department heads and asking department heads to come up with solutions, but I invite community members to share any recommendations they have. You can contact me anytime. Personnel and highway decreased by approximately 74,000 or 4.6%. This is primarily a result of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Vermont, their bronze plan, moving from that to MVP's bronze plan, and that will help decrease personnel costs. Trucks and equipment. To reduce costs, we delayed the purchase of some equipment again this year, but we are moving forward with replacing a 2008 John Deere excavator and a 2016 tandem truck. These replacements will add approximately $75,000 per year over the next 5 years to our fiscal budget. Summer maintenance. Culverts and improvements line item is increasing by $5,000 or 50%. You all might think that $5,000 isn't much in a $10 million budget, but I want to provide you examples of increases as we address deferred maintenance that's been going on for many, many years. Riprap is estimated to increase by 33% or $10,000 used in ditches for bank stabilization and to meet required stormwater regulations, Act 64. Also used to make us more durable when we experience flooding. This past year, we didn't have any FEMA level events like 2023 and 2024, but in May we did experience substantial rainstorms that in parts of Morristown wiped out roads, wiped out culverts, wiped out our ditches, and set our highway department back approximately 4 to 5 weeks as they repaired that damage. Yet they were still able to pivot when that was done and prepare for the paving and other projects that we had this summer. Sidewalk construction. When I first came to Morristown and I looked at the sidewalks, I couldn't believe the condition of many of our sidewalks. This past year, the Select Board moved forward with addressing the substantial need we have in repairing our sidewalks. For this next fiscal year, it's only an increase of $7,500 on our budget, but that's being offset by substantial grant funds that we're pursuing from the state and have been awarded. That $7,500, though, represents a 300% increase as we aggressively pursue sidewalk repairs that have been deferred for too many years. Again, we've obtained a state grant to contribute substantially towards repairs. Duhamel Pit, I've already mentioned. This fiscal year, we initiated contractor hauling. For next fiscal year, we're projecting a decrease of approximately $15,000 or 16.6% for that contract hauler because we don't need to haul as much gravel and sand in the next coming year. Sand and gravel costs are estimated to decrease by approximately $45,000 or 28%. Again, we don't need to make as much gravel and sand in the coming year. So the gist of this is that we are controlling costs. As a matter of fact, my proposed budget came in at less than 50 bips, less than 0.5%. I believe it was 0.46% increase year over year. We've had some changes to the budget in that time because a budget is not static. As new information comes in, we adjust. And the Select Board is discussing some other changes to the budget. But the costs really are not the issue in this next fiscal year. It's a substantial hit in our revenues. And Morristown is not the only municipality experiencing this in the state. In my presentation, I provided examples, and I welcome you to watch that presentation if you have insomnia or you're very bored, or come to me and I'm happy to discuss further. But here are some examples. Tax income, current use reimbursement from the state is projected to decrease by $140,000. That's substantial for this community, a projected reduction of 36%. I communicate regularly with other town managers and town administrators, and this is a phenomenon that's being experienced by municipalities throughout the state. Our cash sweep, we are projecting $53,000 less in cash sweep interest as we project daily balances to be less and the interest rates that we receive from our cash balances to be reduced in the next fiscal year. That's approximately a 31% year-over-year drop. I'm going to provide some, what you would think are small examples, but charge for services. Things like using the photocopier, we're projecting a decrease of $2,500. Tax sale legal fees, we're expecting to decrease by approximately $1,500. Tax sale costs decreases projected $500. And these are small line items, but a lot of them together add up. Police, we're projecting a decrease of approximately $13,500 due to less time being spent on a state CDIP drug enforcement grant. EMS, here's some good news. We have increased our rates to be in line with other municipalities and EMS service providers in the state. So billing fees are expected to increase by approximately $6,000 due to the change in the fee structure that the Select Board approved several months ago. Fees for providing EMS services to Elmore are increasing by 30%. That's a substantial increase year over year. I believe very much that the state of Vermont needs to continue to move towards more regional service, and that involves municipalities working together in any way that they can. Elmore relying on Morristown's EMS services is a good example. But if you look at the per capita costs that they've been paying in the past, it was much less than the residents of Morristown. So I very much believe in finding ways to partner with our neighboring municipalities and having that be a fair and balanced relationship. Class income for EMS is projected to increase by $5,000. For highway, we have a new access fee that's estimated to increase by $4,000. So this is a new revenue item. Fines and forfeits, that's projected to increase by approximately $7,000, and this is related to delinquent tax penalties that are projected. Recreation, a significant decrease because unfortunately this will be another year that we will not be funding a full-time employee for our recreation programs. This is one of the most difficult decisions I made in my first year. It's a difficult decision this year, but when you look at the tax burden for the town, for the residents of Morristown, it's one of those hard choices that I've recommended to the Select Board. And it does not in any way mean that I don't believe that the residents of this community don't deserve robust recreation programs for every member of every age. Other financing sources. The year before I arrived, that fiscal year, our unallocated fund balance was used, $500,000 of that was used to offset taxpayer costs. Is that me ringing? No. So last year, my first year here, I was looking at the projected increases, concerned that we were using so much of our unallocated funds, but also aware of the pressures on the community and on our taxpayers. So we used another $500,000 of our unallocated funds last year. We did project that a substantial amount of that would be recouped. Our projections were wrong as revenue pressures continued last year. This year, we don't have that funding, so that is a significant contributor to the revenue pressures that Morristown is experiencing. We will not be using $500,000 to offset costs this year. So in summary, we're working very hard to control costs, those that we can control. And despite being an inflationary environment, we are keeping cost increases year to year to well below 1%, but significant reductions in revenue are creating budgetary pressures. And so I want to just briefly close by going over the budget overview that is available online on the website. There's also multiple packets for anybody who wants a physical copy. With my proposed budget, the total operating base budget increase was, again, approximately 0.46%. The Select Board is in discussions of making changes. So what I'm about to share with you, and I think what's in all of your packets, represents those potential changes. With the changes, the total operating base budget increases by about $55,000, and that's a 0.54% increase. So it's a very small increase, still well below 1%. The problem is, again, anticipated revenues. Year over year, we have a decrease projected of over $290,000, or over 16.5%. You add in the unallocated funds, $500,000, and the total operating base budget pops to a 10.5% increase. So in my proposed budget, knowing that there were going to be changes, I kept Fire Department Capital Equipment Fund a 1 cent special warning item. I kept a Highway Department Capital Equipment Fund 1 cent item. I removed a Conservation Commission fund, 1/4 cent, not because I don't believe that conservation isn't important, but again, hard decisions are being made, and decisions about what is essential in these times demand difficult decisions. And I kept Bridge and Highway Infrastructure Fund at 2 cents, even though to continue the minimum of 5-year plan to get us out of this deferred maintenance, which is costing taxpayers money, because the cost of road repairs, sidewalk repairs, as year over year a deferred maintenance occurs, only increases the costs. I kept that at 2 cents, despite our highway superintendent recommending a 5.5 cents. So the Select Board has been meeting, and the last scenario that they have been discussing is removing that capital equipment fund for fire, removing that Highway Department Capital Equipment Fund 1 cent for highway, not funding Conservation Commission, and staying with 2 cents, not 5.5 cents as needed to continue to address deferred maintenance on our highways and sidewalks, our 107 miles of roads, but 2 cents. This is not sustainable. Deferred maintenance costs taxpayers money. We need to find solutions together to address these issues. When I say together, that's the residents of this community, that's the Select Board, that's town administration, that's the state government, and it's not an easy, there's no easy solutions. There aren't. So difficult decisions are having to be made, but if we stay positive, if we stay solution-oriented, and we work together, I am confident that we will find the solutions. So with that, thank you so much, and I really appreciate the opportunity to work here. I'm so humbled on an almost daily basis with the passion and investment that so many community members put into this community, and with the professional team that I'm privileged to work with here in Morristown. Thank you.
So, Don or other members of the Select Board, I don't know if you have anything to add to Brent's presentation? Not at this time. Okay. Okay, so I'll now open the floor to questions or comments regarding the draft budget. I'm in Morrisville, right? I'm in Morristown? Right? Okay. Just wanted to check. Any? Yeah. I was looking at you, Tom. I just couldn't believe that you wouldn't say anything.
I was trying my best to be quiet.
Yeah.
Tom Cloutier, thank you very much for Brent for the work that you're doing on this budget and everything. And it's hard times. We as,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Get closer.
All right. We as residents are facing, a 12% property tax from the state, 6.8 or whatever it is from here, and plus all the tariffs, and facing this insurance for people like me are really concerned about. There's a lot on our mind, and this budget, of course, is one of them. And I appreciate the work that everybody's putting in. I've looked at the budget. It is bare bones. I don't know how else more you can cut it. The one thing that we have not discussed, that as a resident, that we haven't been educated on, is the $5 million salary benefits that we pay our 60 or 70 employees. This is nothing against the employees. They're excellent. It's that how much can a town can we afford? Between $5 or $6 million, over half of the budget, I don't think is sustainable. I was up in Maine this summer. A town went bankrupt facing the similar problems. I would just like to open up a discussion on it. We have not even talked about those. We did a little bit at last meeting, but we're cut off by the 2 minute. I understand the 2 minutes. Well, we have all these people there, but with 7 or 8 people sitting in a room, maybe that 2 minutes can be put aside. Just a discussion on the salaries and benefits. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. Any other comments or questions?
Martin Green, just want to state for the record that I don't know how you can underestimate the value of our department heads, our administration, these people who are serving our town, and that if we don't pay them and we don't have the benefits for them in a way that honors them and values them, then what's the point? I mean, I think everybody in this room could put themselves in that situation and say, what if I never got a raise for the rest of my life? What if there were no benefits? And I think it's important to realize that what these folks are doing is for the benefit of our community. And you can never demean that. And by doing that, and by saying they don't deserve that, we shouldn't pay them, that it's non-essential, you're basically devaluing who they are as people and their role and everything they do to serve our town. So I commend every one of you for all that you're doing. And I say that we need to take care of them and give them what they deserve, what they're worth.
I'm Jerry Throne. I believe that when you have an agreement, you stick to the agreement. If you want to renegotiate an agreement, you do that when the agreement terminates. And that's the case with most, if not all, of the town employees. You stick to your word and you don't try to go back on it. So I believe that we've done the best we can under the circumstances. Also, I believe that if we decide that we're not going to pay our employees what they're worth or what they're worth in other towns, that there'll be a huge sucking sound of a vacuum where they'll be leaving our town to go somewhere else. So that's my opinion. I think we basically stick to our agreements.
Any other comments or questions?
Yes, sir. Dave Moazed recently moved here. I understand the concerns being expressed about costs and expenses. So it strikes me that we should focus a little more on revenue. I don't hear a lot of discussion of new ideas for growing the revenue base of this community, and yet that's the only opportunity we have. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Sorry. Nancy Banks. So I have questions. So we're taking away the set-asides, for lack of a better term, for conservation, which as some of you know is very passionate to me, and the highway. If in fact we voted the local option tax, when would we be able to get those back? I mean, this is so short-sighted, and I understand. So that would be my question, is if we voted the local option tax, would we be able to get those back? And then second, are there other services we're looking to regionalize within the town government besides EMS that could helpfully maybe soften some of the costs that we incur to provide those? So I was wondering if there's other things, I know they're not in place this year, but are there other things that you're looking at in going into the next year?
So I think there are a couple questions there. One is local option tax. If it was voted, when would revenue start? Thinking about allocation, how much revenue would it be? And then are there other regionalization options?
So I think most of you are aware that the town paid for EPR. Jeff Carr, he's economist for, is it the governor, Shap, or?
A long time ago. Governor Cunin. So
Okay. He's also been for Agency of Commerce, Community Development, well-regarded economist, and he projects conservatively if LOT were enacted for all three categories that are allowed under statute, that would bring in approximately $1.2 million in the first fiscal year. If that was, those articles will be on your ballot in March. If it does pass, it would not be implemented by the state until July 1st, and then the state pays out on a quarterly basis, approximately 2 weeks after a quarter ends. So that is one revenue solution, and there's people that rightfully are concerned about impacts to residents, rightfully concerned about potential impacts for businesses. I'm a Franklin County boy originally, but I live in Williston now. One of the reasons I choose to live in Williston is because the LOT has offset my taxes since I've lived in Williston since the 90s. Williston is a different animal than Morristown, but Morristown is a hub. It may not be the hub that brings in tourists like Stowe is, but it's a hub that brings in people to Morristown's stores. And so the argument is that the burden won't be all just on property holders. It'll be spread out a little bit with people that come to our community, use our infrastructure. They will help pay for some costs. So that'll be a big decision for everybody here and everybody in the community to consider. We have some educational materials that are here, are in the back with Sarah, Judy, and Adele. Encourage you to take that information and encourage you to ask questions. The second part of your question, Nancy, was about other potential opportunities for regional services. We've already been approached about assuming more responsibilities, our police department assuming more responsibilities. We would not be able to do that currently because our current police facility is so inadequate. So the last number I saw was approximately $125,000 in revenue a year. Of course, that would be substantially offset because, as Tom mentioned, labor is a big part of our budget. And labor is a big part of any municipality's budget because we are a service provider. But that is an opportunity that I am pursuing with the chief of police. I've had some initial conversations with other individuals, Sheriff Marcoux, Chief Luno and I have had some conversations. Unfortunately, that's a long way off until we find a solution for a new police facility. And we are moving forward with obtaining information needed to properly evaluate the cost to the community for not only a new police, but potentially fire and EMS. For those of you that don't know, we have a fire department building with bays that are too short, and it's not able to be expanded because of the footprint lot that it's on. So every time we buy a new fire truck, we're adding $100,000 to the cost of a fire truck because we have to special order it. So we are looking at revenue solutions. We are looking at how we can be a partner with other communities for services. And I want to thank you, Nancy, for these questions because they're important questions. And again, only with community members asking these questions and making recommendations can we find solutions.
Can I just add one part of that? Brent's given a pretty thorough answer to your question, Nancy, regarding LOTs, but part of what you said was when those funds might become available if the LOT were to pass. If it were to pass, then administration and the select board would, or the town would receive some monies in October of 2026. And at that time, these revenues coming into the town would need to be, considered by administration and the select board moving forward.
Other questions or comments?
Evelyn Throne, perfect height here. I am thinking of something, an expression, it takes money to save money. And I think we've heard a lot of examples of this today. I was unaware of the idea of the police station. I was aware of what condition it's in, and it's really subpar at the best, but that's something that could potentially save money. My husband was a civil engineer for 50 years, and the deferred maintenance on things in this town really costs money in more ways than people can really understand. Interest on loans that we have to take out, for equipment, that gets wrecked because the roads weren't good, the sidewalks weren't good. It's snowball effects. And for that reason, leads me to my other favorite expression, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the possible. It's not perfect to have the LOT. It's not perfect to have any taxes extra, even the ones we have. Be better to cut back. But if we need to raise money, and some of it can come from non-residents, some of it, we have to get more information on that, then we will save money in the long run. And these are somewhat discretionary. Some of them are discretionary. Some of them are very important. But then we can save money in ways that we can't probably even project or imagine going forward.
No, you're.
Hi, Chris Yates, resident, mom, veteran, nurse. I'm going to point to the gentleman's comment about raising revenue. Yes, that's absolutely necessary, and those that can should. Because when you eradicate an entire department dedicated to children's care, the summer camp program and the after-school drop-in program, you are going to drive out the very people that you depend on to fund the services that we otherwise utilize. There will be no small families, new businesses moving in, because I can tell you from personal experience, that's one of the reasons why I chose Morristown, because at the time, we had a summer program and an after-school drop-in program. And as a single mom, I absolutely relied upon that. So folks like me that are professionals and service industry workers, your tourists, how are they going to come? There won't be anything for them to come for because the population base that you rely on won't be here. They're going to move out. They're going to move to other locations where there is a after-school program, where there is a summer program, because people rely on that. You want the families? Give them the services that they need. Thank you.
Yes, my name's Bob Bortry, and I agree with Martin and Jerry and the others who have spoke in favor of honoring what we have committed to. I would like to understand a little more thoroughly what revenue sources are we looking at? I mean, obviously, there's the option tax, but that in and of itself is not going to bail us out. Has there been, a committed effort to try and bring new businesses into town? What is the select board looking at, or what is town government looking at to help us with that? I think that is the answer in a nutshell. I don't see where else we go. We cannot continue, if you look at the school tax and the local government tax that we have here, of something in the neighborhood of 12 to 14% increases year after year. We're all going to be leaving, and I don't want to leave. So hopefully we have some ideas, and I think as a community, if you have an idea, please bring it forward to the select board or the town manager to review and possibly work in that direction. Thank you.
Yep. Laura?
So this is one of the reasons I joined the select board, was to push for economic development in this town. I will say, it moves much slower than I had hoped. I run the Morrisville Farmers Market, and that alone brings in, or has brought in people to town. I spent months fighting for SNAP, which again is federal money that comes into this town. So there's things like that. I am incredibly frustrated that we are where we are right now. However, the upside is I just met with Carol, who's now running MAC, and am incredibly encouraged that a lot of what I've been talking about for 3 years, because I know we've needed revenue for over 3 years, so this is not new information. However, it's how do we get it? In speaking with Carol, I was very encouraged, and I went to the legislative breakfast. So there are plans. Again, I have asked repeatedly to have the Oxbow discussion listed on the agenda. We have a huge resource. We've got to rethink it because of the floods. So in talking with Carol, I'm absolutely thrilled that we're finally acknowledging the fact that we have an unbelievable resource with the rail trail going right through our town. We're one of the few that have that. And that we have a parking lot. I have been pushing for using that space to encourage bike tours to use it as their initial spot. They can come in. They do this at Elmore. They rent out space in Elmore, Lake Elmore, as their lunch spot. We have a covered pavilion that would work great for lunches, there's bathrooms there, have it going out, in and out, and same thing with snowmobiles, bike tours, there's all kinds of resources. So they are looking at that, which is incredibly encouraging to me. There's a map coming out, again, dedicating that parking lot, but also showing what you have access to for our businesses. We have not done anything to support our businesses, and we have wonderful businesses who we are unbelievably lucky have made the commitment to Morristown. And we need to really recognize that and honor them because they are huge resources. That's who brings people to town, are the interesting. And, yes, people come to town, to the grocery stores, but a lot of it is they're coming because they don't have a grocery store, or they're coming to the dollar store, and they're coming to the discount stores. And that is my concern with LOT is those are not the people we should be taxing. So we need to build other incentives to get people here, and the recreation is huge. So I'm highly encouraged that we have Adele on board now who is highly experienced. I've known her for years and years and years she's worked in Stowe, and so between working with Adele and MAC, and now we have downtown designation, and we're working with Lamoille Economic. There's a huge partnership and a cooperation amongst everybody that is really encouraging. And that is a huge revenue source. So it is happening. It just doesn't happen overnight.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, 2, no more.
Martin Green. Amen to the need to make Morristown a vibrant community. Anything we can do to build our community. However, right now, what's on the table is the local options tax as a way to generate revenue. I want to thank and commend the select board and the administration for putting this before the voters a year ago. It was not on the table, and now it is. And I think the biggest challenge facing us is informing and educating the voters, which is happening. I appreciate that. That challenge will be to overcome the unfounded and erroneous rumors and notions about how harmful or how this local options tax would be harmful. It's to me, it seems like a no-brainer as a way to really help offset pressures on the budget. It's not an oppressive levied tax on residents or even non-residents, but a way to capitalize on people coming in, using our services. And I think it makes a great deal of sense. And once again, I thank you for bringing this before the voters.
Carol Lauber, Morrisville resident, and also the board chair of MAC, the Morrisville Alliance for Culture and Commerce. I will try to keep it short. With MAC, there's always a lot to say because there's always a lot going on in Morristown, but I'll keep my comments more to a recreation today, even though that is not under something that is MAC. I'd been thinking about coming to the mic for it, but then after what Laura said, what I'm seeing from the MAC perspective of that is that now that we have downtown designation, we have a great group that's working with MAC. We're moving towards hiring an executive director so that we can do more economic development in town. One of the things that is slowing us down is rec and not having a rec person or any capacity there. With Adele's time, I mean, I think we need to be realistic that 3 roles under 1 job description is, it's spread too thin. I mean, not everything's going to get done to the level that she would want to, the town would want to, you would want to. And also Mac's time gets pulled. Like I really want this year to pull together a group that is the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail group for Morristown so that we have a group of volunteers that can work with somebody, with MAC, with the town, to really focus on that and how we capitalize on that economic potential that we have there for not just people from outside, but also for our residents. So those things take time and they need coordination, and you kind of need that professional and that dedicated person. It's not, rec is just such a soft thing, but in this day and age, and especially where Vermont's tourism is going and how much of it is outdoor rec, there's a lot of expertise that goes along with it. So we're only going to get, so far in all of that based on time. But again, in our town, that's what we've recognized. It was on our downtown designation application. All right, thanks.
Yeah. Other questions, comments? Yeah. Yep.
Hi, Kara Hansey. I live here in Morrisville. So
Please
I
closer to the
just,
mic.
hi, Kara Hansey. So I'm representing parents. I have 3 kids here that are in all 3 schools. I'm behind on watching my select board meetings. Gonna be every parent here in town who hasn't been able to keep up from November to January. So I wanted to come in today and just see everybody, and took a nice walk on some slippery sidewalks, but thank you for all the hard work trying to let people walk down here. Looking at the budget, and I know I have background information on recreation, that's what I want to talk about for just a quick second, but just looking at all zeros is what parents are going to see. Just zeros. And I know from a different level of understanding, what you're all trying to decide and how hard it is to, get funding for all the things that our town needs, but it's all zeros. That's really, really hard to walk in here and see. And it does make me emotional. And so I just want to thank you for just considering it and thinking about what all those parents are going to see when they look at this budget. That's really hard, and I think you can do better. I think we can all do better. We can all understand that things are hard, that maybe it has to change this summer, and maybe it's going to rebuild for a few years, but all zeros is rough. Thank you.
Justin?
Justin Erland. Yeah, all this stuff is a choice. The roads are important, all the infrastructure is important, but we can't just discard the people. It's a choice of ours. So.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Dennis Smith. I'm hearing people talking about bringing in revenue. So we're suggesting that we have the bike path come up to the coffee shop and buy a coffee and a donut. We're suggesting nickel and dime stuff. Has anybody ever considered getting some jobs in this town?
Any other questions or comments? Gary?
Yeah, Gary Nolan. I just been sitting here thinking, and Dennis mentioned it. I think the perfect source of some increased revenue that hasn't been mentioned. Has anybody contacted the local legislators about getting the airport back up and running? It's a perfect place to get people in here. Way underutilized, and also I don't understand why, and maybe I shouldn't be saying anything, but why everybody's so against the industrial park being proposed across the street from the airport. Seems to me it would be a perfect tax revenue source. Instead of fighting the developers, I think we ought to encourage them, because everybody seems to think that the developers are the one that pay the bill, but at the end of the day, it's you and I that pay it. So
Give some thought to that, if you would, please.
Any other questions or comments? And been giving some latitude to sort of things being tangentially related to the budget, but we are actually talking about the budget, and so. Yeah. Ann?
I have a budget, Ann Howard. I have a budget question. It probably is pie in the sky, but since we're having pie for breakfast, thought I'd ask. You had talked about a lot of contracts for software that have increased. You know, I'm not gonna drill down, I'm not sure exactly, but there was this and that, and that was like, you know, services that are software related that seem out of our control, but I'm just wondering down the road if there's a way of combining costs for that kind of thing with a Lamoille County software contract versus a town contract. I know where I work, that was done, and probably was easier, but at UVM, they combined, I work at UVM, and they combined separate colleges' contracts with, say, just software things that help run the university. And that was certainly a huge savings for the university. And I don't know if Lamoille County, you know, if that's even possible, but who knows, maybe with some software contracts, there could be some that would be open to having a shared resource of some sort. And I'm not saying it correctly, but that's just an idea.
Yep, Brent. And then Laura.
So you're absolutely correct, and we already are looking at opportunities. You know, I brought up in my short, well, wasn't short, but my fast facts presentation, the costs for Axon. The police chief looked into collaborating with the sheriff's department for Axon, and a lot of that cost is tied to the cloud storage of video, and they won't allow separate entities to combine because that's a significant subscription revenue generator. And unfortunately, Axon is just one of two, the only really game in town for law enforcement, at least in the state of Vermont, if not nationwide. So while we look for software solutions to increase efficiencies, reduce labor costs, we're also looking for ways that we can combine, like you mentioned. Another example is within departments, not just software, but service providers, whether it be fire sprinkler inspections, et cetera. We're looking at all things to see where we can combine that might not have previously been done.
And I just want to mention one, it's minor, but you know, when you look at it, was that the state passed a cloud tax. So we now have an additional tax on all this software, you know, for all industries. So call your legislators and let's get rid of the cloud tax.
Yeah.
Judy Bickford. Brent, sorry. I'm wondering if the presentation you gave could be printed out for next year, because that was really good, and it's a lot of information to kind of hold in one's head. Also, about the recreation, when Anna Green and Tricia Fuller made a presentation to the select board years ago, they talked about they couldn't get money, grants and funding because we didn't have downtown designation. And now that we do, a recreation person might be able to access that monies and would offset some of the salaries that would go into providing recreation for our community.
Jerry Throne again. This is directly related to the budget because the budget includes revenues, and the LOT is a no-brainer. Basically, if all the money that's projected by Jeff Carr to be put into that's generated from the LOT, if it were all put into the budget and the select board and maybe the voters would have a chance to decide exactly where it goes, it doesn't really matter because that money infuses everything that the town needs to do. It can infuse a recreation, it can infuse road repair, it can infuse lowering or giving money to MAC to be able to get more businesses into town. It all rests on the LOT, at least now. 5 years down the road, might be a different story. But basically, if you took all that money, and if you have a $200,000 house, I figured that you would have to shell out an additional $300 a week to equal what your savings would be if all the money went into tax reduction.
We're getting close to the cutoff. Any other questions or comments? I think this will be the last one.
I didn't see anyone else coming up for a second time, so Evelyn Throne. I wanted to share a little bit of good news that people may not know, that, you know, we had talked about the volunteers and the energy that comes and the ideas that come from volunteers. And there's one volunteer in town who worked hard to get a grant for a traffic study in town. Because if you don't have a traffic study, you can't get grants. And if you can't get grants, you can't get the work done that this town truly needs to have the traffic flow properly, have pedestrians be more safe, have it be more attractive, to have the residents not only be happy, we talk about drawing people, but the residents here will certainly enjoy it, but the people will come into the town more. That said, I think that leads me to the idea of, and the recreation director, is there anything that could be done to put that as a separate thing on the ballot? Because I hear more passion about that than I hear about just about anything else. And I just don't know if there's a way to not add it to the tax burden that people see, the 6.9% that is asked now, to have it be something that people say yay or nay to on the budget, because I'm getting a good feeling that it would pass. But anyway, the idea of the highway and you know, making it more attractive, that's going to take money, and that does, the options right now are, I think the LOT is the option, and I hope it passes in all three forms. It's been studied that other towns are not affected by this. Their businesses don't lose business. You know, that pretty much stays steady. So thank you.
All right, so I think we're done with this portion. Thanks for everybody for their comments and questions, and thanks, Brent, for your presentation. So now we'll hear from social services agencies. First up will be Memorial Housing Partnership, and it's Finn Wilkinson, and that's 3 minutes.
Can everyone hear me? Yep. I'm Finn Wilkinson, and I'm very proud to say that I work for Down Street Housing in the role as a property manager. And first of all, I want to thank the town of Morrisville for all the support you've shown for affordable housing over the years. In these few minutes, I just want to talk about Memorial Housing Partnership, which is currently operated by Down Street, and why your support is really important as we work towards a merger. In this county, we operate 277 permanently affordable homes for individuals, families, and older adults. 166 of those properties are in Morrisville. So a large share of our tenants are people who work here, grew up here, and they want to be able to stay here as they age. In addition to housing, we also provide support services through our resident services and SASH programs. These programs help people stay housed, they connect with local resources, and for older adults, coordinate medical care and other services so they can age in place. It's about helping people stay healthy, independent, and connected to this community. In addition, Downstreet also provides a full range of home ownership services for low to moderate income individuals. This includes home buyer education, help accessing down payments assistance, grants and loans for home repairs, foreclosure prevention, and long-term stewardship of permanently affordable homes in the community. And this allows these opportunities to be continually preserved for this local community. This year, we've worked with Evernorth and we've managed to preserve Copley Terrace housing. This is 36 subsidized rental apartments for older adults here in the centre of Morrisville. We are also in the process of transitioning 8 short-term rentals, Airbnbs, into permanent home ownership opportunities, and 6 of these will be permanently affordable houses. We're really grateful for the town's past funding and community support. We really couldn't do it without you. It's made a real difference for us and allowed us to keep doing this work. As we move towards the merger, the focus is on strengthening what already exists in this community, making operations move more smoothly and efficiently, and ensuring the long-term stability for the homes and the people who live in this community. Affordable housing is essential to Morrisville. It's essential for the workforce, the seniors, and the families in this community. And the continued town support helps us make sure people can continue living in your community and age in the community of love.
We're at 3 minutes.
So thank you.
Kim Lipinski.
Hi, I'm Kim Lipinski. I'm the Director of Nutrition and Wellness at the Central Vermont Council on Aging. And, get a little closer, I guess. There we go. I'm here to talk a little bit about the Council on Aging and the services we offer for the town of Morrisville. First of all, I want to mention our helpline, which takes thousands of calls a year. And we do all types of problem solving through our helpline for folks. We also offer case management services, which work with clients in their homes to assess their needs and develop and implement and coordinate individual long-term care plans. We support nutrition programs such as Meals on Wheels. We also offer free nutrition counseling to anyone age 60 and over. We implement exercise and wellness programs too in our community that are very well attended and popular. That some of those include things like Tai Chi and bone builders classes. And then probably most important to a lot of people is our state health insurance program assistance that we give to folks who are looking to sign up for Medicare or Medicaid and all of those supplemental programs as well. Then there's also family caregiver support, which is support for those who are taking care of a family member at home. We have a lot of programs and volunteers that help those folks. We have an enormous volunteer department too at our organization with hundreds of volunteers that go out into the community to help folks in their homes. Everything from art programs with our creative care kits to more like home chore and things like that. And then I just want to mention that in Morristown this year, we helped 284 residents with services. And when I say that, I mean the type of services where we're collecting information, we actually log them into our database. If you look at how many people come to our events, the number is much, much greater. For example, our Medicare introductory workshops, I know we had 70 people show up to one of those. So those are the types of events where we're not taking names and numbers and collecting data on people, but we're still serving a great number of people. Overall, we do collect data on 5,254 people in our service area last year. And this year, we're looking for support for these programs, and I would appreciate that. And if you have any questions, you can reach me. I'm sitting right over here. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. We'll now hear from Salvation Farms and Kelly Dolan.
Good morning, Kelly Dolan from Salvation Farms. Thank you so much for the time. I'm really honored to be here today and just speak a little bit about Salvation Farms and our work. But first off, I just want to express a lot of gratitude to the town of Morrisville, to Morrisville residents for supporting Salvation Farms. This year, we are celebrating 20 years of work in this community and surrounding communities. That feels like a significant milestone for many different reasons. And we are only here because of the generosity of many of you and all of you that have come out to support our work, whether it's as a volunteer or as a donor. So thank you for that. Salvation Farms, our work centers on fostering a future where local farms feed local communities. There's many ways that you could potentially approach that work. And we focus on surplus food. So food from farms that isn't reaching traditional markets, but it's still perfectly edible. It could be too big, too small, deemed imperfect in some other way. It could be a bumper crop. We've all been in Vermont in zucchini season, so we know what that looks like. We take that food and we distribute it to the community. Over the course of 2025, we've harvested about 75,000 pounds of food, right? And we've distributed that to about 10,000 people, many who live here in Morrisville. We work with about 40 different farms and distribute to about 80 different locations, many here, including Lamoille County Food Share, WIC, Lamoille County Mental Health Services, the Manor, Copley House, Meals on Wheels in Lamoille County, and Northern Vermont Recovery Center. So just really honored to do that work. The other thing I just wanted to talk about is we had this plan to site a processing food center here in the center of town. We were really excited to move forward with that project. Our organization, like many others, has been impacted by federal cuts. We lost a very large federal grant. We felt very strongly about continuing that work and had to explore other options. We've been digging into a lot of the strong partnerships that we've built over time. And so the program will be moving forward. We are going to be partnering with the Center for an Agricultural Economy to renovate a space at the Vermont Food Venture Center. The work feels very important. We wanted the work to move forward. The plan for the processing program is to process surplus food, think mashed potatoes, corn and carrots, corn on the cob, and sell it to institutions that historically have not been able to afford local food, so local schools, prisons, Meals on Wheels programs. And so that work moves forward, but we just had to change direction a little bit. So yeah, so just want to close and just thank you so much for all that you do for Salvation Farms. We're really honored to be here. Thank you.
We'll now hear from Clarina Howard and Child Advocacy Special Investigation Unit and Becky Gagne.
Awesome, yes, I get 6 minutes, I think.
Don't test me.
Good morning, my name is Becky Gagne. I'm the Executive Director at the Clarina Howard Nichols Center. Clarina's mission is to end domestic and sexual violence, human trafficking, and stalking through advocacy, outreach, and education, prevention, and social change. During my 8.5 years at Clarina, I've been asked many times, how do you continue to do this work? Isn't it hard? Isn't it sad? It is hard, and it is sad, but it's also incredibly beautiful and rewarding. We experience small moments every day that keep us doing this work. Someone calling our hotline for the first time, walking into the shelter and seeing the guests sharing a meal, a survivor submitting their first housing application. We also experience big moments. These are less frequent, but they sustain us, especially on the hardest days. Here's an example. I just wanted to take a moment to write to you and everyone at Clarina. I was standing in my kitchen this evening doing dishes and thinking about what to cook for dinner, and I was hit with such a wave of gratitude that I had to stop everything and sit down to write this. I can't believe that less than a year after everything I went through, I'm here, safe in my own apartment. Not just any place, but my space. A place where I'm not walking on eggshells, where I don't have to worry about being controlled or trapped, That feeling of peace and safety is something I didn't think I'd have again, and it means everything to me. I truly don't have the words to fully express what your support has meant. Every step of the way, you've helped me believe in a future beyond survival. Your kindness, guidance, and encouragement helped me begin building a life that is mine, and that's such a powerful, beautiful thing. Please know that I'm beyond grateful for each of you. I'll absolutely stay in touch and continue to work with you as I move forward. But for now, I just needed to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've helped give me my life back. After 45 years of service, I wished our services were no longer needed. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We served 403 survivors last year and will continue to be here for survivors, for the small and the big moments, through the challenges and successes, and for everything in between. We could not do this work without your support. Our current budget is $797,000. We've requested $12,000 in town appropriations from 11 different towns, including $1,750 from Morristown. Thank you for believing in our work and believing that every individual deserves a life free from violence. Please visit our website and never hesitate to call our hotline if you or someone you care about is being harmed. So that's Clarina. I don't have anything prepared for the Memorial Child Advocacy Center, but what I will say is I'm the board president for that organization, and my role is at Clarina. We are between staff this week. We have a gap between when our new employee starts on Monday. Many of you will know Tracy Patno, who was our former executive director, is returning in that role. So we're very happy to have her back. The Memorial Child Advocacy Center is a multidisciplinary team that's based in Hyde Park. It's law enforcement, Clarina, state's attorney, mental health, the hospital, and lots of other folks who handle child and adult sexual assault cases in Memorial County. We served 85 people last year through that organization. I think important to note, Brent noted actually earlier that the existence of the Child Advocacy Center brings in $60,000 to the county for law enforcement, which includes $20,000 that gets directly given to the Morristown Police Department to assist in the work that they do on these cases. So thank you for supporting that organization as well.
And we'll now hear from Allison Calderara from Capstone Community Action. I don't know if I got that right.
You did. Capstone Community Action. My name is Allison Calderara. I am the Executive Director of Capstone Community Action. A community action agency meets people in crisis and gives them the tools and resources they need to move beyond poverty and to move to lives of safety, security, and stability. Capstone serves 3 counties, Orange, Lamoille, and Washington, and 10,000 people will come through one of our doors this upcoming year. So in Morristown, 377 households came to us for help and support, and that represented 551 individuals. What did we do for folks? Well, 24 households with 49 family members were able to keep their homes warm and safe with our crisis fuel systems. 165 individuals in 98 households worked with us to find affordable housing. That is an enormous need. And 33 homeless individuals worked with us to be able to find housing. That's an important accomplishment. 19 children were enrolled in our Head Start programs. Our Head Start programs work with at-risk families and provides a whole suite of early childhood education programs in order to break the cycle of poverty. 7 households received help when their furnace needed repair. We actually gave 7 households the emergency furnace repairs, and 3 of those furnaces were replaced at no charge, helping people again stay warm and safe in their homes. 10 homes were weatherized at no charge. This really is so important for reducing energy burden. You know, in these old Vermont housing stocks, a lot of your budget can go right out the windows. We helped 6 seniors and 2 people with disabilities to be able to reduce their energy burden and help their household budgets. 57 people, residents, attended classes or met one-on-one with a financial counselor And that helps them be able to better manage their household budgets and to be able to make good use of the limited dollars that they have. It's an important basic need that I think that we see in young families in particular. 14 entrepreneurs received counseling and technical assistance on growing or starting a business. Right here, I hear a lot of talk about economic development. Well, we're helping those small businesses, those little seeds start to grow right here in your town. And last but not least, we helped 106 residents had their taxes prepared at no charge through Capstone. We had certified IRS volunteers, and we helped them be able to navigate that system and receive the refunds that they need. And those refunds usually go directly back immediately into your local economy. So, you know, I really feel so honored, first of all, to represent Capstone. All I want to do now is to really thank you for helping us serve with strength to the residents of Morristown. Thank you very much.
Now we'll hear from Susan Drew from Lamoille County Food Share.
Hi, I'm Susan Drew from the Lamoille Community Food Share. I want to thank you first for your support and your help with people in Lamoille. Thank you. Thank you for your support of people in Morrisville. In the fall, we all know there was a budget crisis, and we did not know if we were going to get food stamps. Every day, people showed up with bags of food that we were able to give out to the people of Morrisville and the people of Lamoille County. It gave us hope, and it meant a lot to us. We're asking for your support again this year to help our neighbors. We saw more than 400 families in the last year that came in. You can come into the food share twice a month. You get food, canned food, fresh produce, meat, vegetables, milk, eggs, butter, cheese, bread. We also have toiletries. We have dog and cat food that is given to us as donations. We don't have to pay for that. We also are supporting some of our sister agencies or other agencies with food. They will go to their site so that people don't have to come in. We make it more easy for people to access food. You don't have to provide any kind of income information to us. You just need to come in and say you need food. It's a wonderful thing to be able to provide for our community. If you have any questions, I'll be here all day. Thank you.
Now we'll hear from Lamoille Home Health and Hospice and Erica Scott.
Morning, I'm Erica Scott. I'm the Assistant Executive Director at Lamoille Home Health and Hospice. When many people think of home health and hospice, they picture end-of-life care. And while that work is extremely important and deeply important to us, it's only one part of our story. Every day, our team has the privilege of walking into people's homes at some of the most vulnerable moments of their life. We care for newborns and elders, for people recovering from illnesses and surgeries, as well as for families facing end of life. We don't just bring medical care, we bring comfort, reassurance, and the simple but powerful reminder that no one has to go through these moments alone. Home health and hospice services are often quiet. You may not see us in a hospital hallway or hear about us in the news, but our impact is felt deeply. It's a nurse taking the time to answer questions. It's a therapist helping someone regain their independence, a hospice aide offering gentle care, a homemaker picking up groceries, or a volunteer or social worker supporting a family through one of life's hardest chapters. By meeting families where they are, right in their houses, we reduce unnecessary hospital visits, support healthier outcomes, and strengthen families during some of life's most pivotal moments. Your support helps ensure that the 11,098 visits and 40,697 miles we traveled in Morrisville last year are still possible. That our care remains accessible, local, and responsive. As our community continues to grow and age, the need for home-based care and hospice will only increase. So together we can make sure our neighbors receive the care they deserve right at home, surrounded by the people and the places that they love, from the very first days of life until every chapter that follows. We appreciate your support, and if you have any questions, we'll be over in the corner.
Now we'll hear from the Lamoille Restorative Center and Heather Hobart.
Good morning.
My name is Heather Hobart. I'm the Executive Director of Lemoyle Restorative Center. We've been around for 47 years, and most people know us for our original namesake, which was the Lemoyle Court Diversion Program. Last year, we served 760 people in our 15 programs, and about 20% of them, or 151 people, were from Morristown. More than half of the individuals we served were youth and young adults, which is a significant number. Last year, we served 360 youth and young adults, which, when you think about it, is more than half of all the students that are stuffed into People's Academy. We're the largest youth serving organization in the county. 46 young adults were served in our jobs program. 35 of them had employment or work experiences last year. 75% of the 130 students we served in the school engagement program re-engaged with their education. 95% of the young people in our youth development program had stable housing last year. So those are obviously really successful programs. We also have a very high success rate in our legal facing programs. 75% of the adults that were enrolled in those programs last year were successful, for example. So we're able to do that work because of the help of 20 volunteers, and I want to especially thank Rachel Duffy, who's in our audience, and Dave McAllister, who many of you know from Morristown. And if you're interested in volunteering or questioning what that's all about, I really encourage you to come see me or check out our website. We really appreciate the support of our volunteers and especially the support of the town that comes every year. We know that that's a financial decision that is especially crucial this year, and we appreciate it. I want to especially take time this year to thank Chief Luno for his leadership and collaboration over this past year. I would say that Morristown especially is safer, and our whole county is safer and healthier because of his work. So I want to thank you, and please encourage you to come check out an annual report or come talk to me if you're interested. Now I can see you all again, and learning more about the restorative center. Thank you so much.
Now we'll hear from Lemoyle Family Center, Carol Goddenweg.
Hello, I'm actually Carol Langgodden, but that was very close, very close. Either one, it's fine.
I'm just reading off the sheet.
Right? I'll have words with someone later. So I'm Carol Langgodden. I'm the Executive Director at Lemoyle Family Center. We are located right on Cadies Falls Road. I know some people don't actually know where we are, even though we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this coming May. So we're over there, and we own property on Bridge Street, so we're taxpayers, so what you're all deciding on makes a huge impact on us too, so we appreciate all you do. So during the last fiscal year, we employ 30 staff, and we served around 5,000 children, kids, and families, and of those, 20% were from Morrisville. Our high-quality programs really deliver a strong return on investment. I hear you all talking about how important that is to you, and I want you to know it's important to us as well. We don't want to do things that don't make a difference. For us, every dollar invested now in a child's physical, emotional, or mental health gives a $7 return on savings, which is really important as taxpayers. Not only are we a Morrisville business, we shop locally, we bank locally, and we do our best to give back to this community. We've been doing that for 50 years, and we know how much you've been giving back to us for 50 years, and we appreciate that. We give gas cards and grocery cards that we purchase here in this community. Why didn't I take Heather's advice, put my glasses on? Just struggling to read this. So around $6,000 we spend at Hannaford just on grocery cards for families in this community. $6,000 in gas cards that's spent at local gas stations. We collaborate with childcare centers, schools, camps, coaches, all in this community. We work with and promote more than 20 Morrisville businesses during our holiday project. Thank you to all of you who supported Holiday Project. We partner with most of these providers here, and so many more. I think that's a huge thing you all need to know is how much the nonprofits in this community work together to support families, to support one another. It's really, I don't think other regions do it quite as well as we do. We team with Resource and Second Chance to give clothing and furniture vouchers. Again, we're supporting Morrisville businesses that give back to our economy. We spend hundreds of dollars on school shoes at the Great Outdoors. Again, we're giving back to the community. We collaborated with Bijou and through our Healthy Lamoille Valley program to run ads. And then our Send a Kid to Camp, I heard you all talking about recreation. Send a Kid Camp scholarships totaled $32,000, which stayed here in Lamoille Valley. And of that, around $10,000 went to Morrisville after-school programs. So we're very sad to hear about what's happening here in Morrisville. And so overall, LFC's budget is around $2.8 million, and of that, we're asking all of you for $3,000. So it is a small amount of money for the huge amount that we give back to this community, and that all of you give back, so thank you.
You're right on the money. You're right at 3 minutes. Way to go. Meals on Wheels, summer.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Summer Kapiga. I'm the Executive Director of Meals on Wheels in Lamoille County. For 35 years, we have worked very closely with the community to provide nutritious meals and social connection to area seniors and those living with a disability throughout our community. So what we ended up doing differently last year, though, is we looked at our menu and we realized because we had grown so much in the last year, we're talking 58,613 meals we prepared last year for over 450 recipients. When you start preparing food at that level and you start ordering from these big box distributors, you start getting foods that are filled with processed ingredients. You're looking at fillers and solutions that we don't need to be putting into the systems of people who are recovering from surgeries, who have chronic health conditions. We're not doing them any favors. So we launched the Nutrition Revolution. And what we did is we took money from those big box stores and we invested it into our local farms. We started bringing in fresh produce, local meats, other proteins. And the proof is in the pudding. Our approval rating has skyrocketed. We are retaining more people who are enjoying their meals, and these meals are helping them. They're enjoying them. They're excited to find out what the next menu is going to have. So that in mind, we're on the right path, but we still need more support. We need ideas from you guys. How can we get more of this food into our menus? It is expensive going organic and unprocessed, but our goal is for each meal to be homemade from scratch in our kitchen this year. So thank you very much for the time. I appreciate all of your support. And if you're interested in volunteering with us, I'm here with the wonderful Ms. Laura Bapp, our volunteer coordinator, and we would love to talk to you about it. So thank you. Have a good day.
Now we'll hear from Jonah Rabinowitz from River Arts.
Good morning. This is my first opportunity to be here at meeting day. I just moved to this community exactly a year ago, and it's a fascinating thing for me because I have never been involved in this before. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to thank you all for welcoming me to your community, but also let you know that one of the great things about working at River Arts is that we're just right across the parking lot. We're just right there in that big, beautiful building, and a lot of you just come in because you know we have beautiful things in our facility. And that's the thing I love about going to work every day, is seeing everybody in this community who comes by to River Arts. And sometimes that's children who come by on a Wednesday morning because they're in our Move and Groove or our Big and Messy classes that we offer for free to the whole entire community. Or maybe it's because they come on a Monday afternoon where they're a member of our community choir, again, free to our community. Or any of the number of after-school activities that we do for children in the public schools, again, free to them if they don't have the ability to afford it. All these things make a huge difference in the creative lives of every single member of our community. Or maybe you see us over at Festival of Lights, or Oktoberfest, or Morrisville Live, because we're going to be anywhere where we can help this community be as creative as possible and be that community center that that big, beautiful yellow building has been since 1847. So we welcome you to come to River Arts. We thank you for your support, and we hope that when you're driving by or going to Boca or coming over to the VFW, that you'll come in and see us and see the beautiful work that goes on at River Arts. Thank you very much.
And now we'll hear from North Central Vermont Recovery Center and Shannon.
Good morning.
Shannon Carchidi, I'm the Executive Director for the North Central Vermont Recovery Center, and I'm very honored to be here today. We are located at 275 Brooklyn Street. We occupy the entire back half of the building known as the Carriage Barn. And so when people visit our location, they're always surprised to see the amount of space and how homey our environment is. So we've been in business since 2010, and we're a peer-run organization, meaning that myself included and all of our staff are peers in recovery who have struggled with substance use and or alcohol. And all of our services are free. We receive our base funding through the Department of Substance Use, and we also work very, very hard to diversify our funding throughout the year, working with various donors and grants and fundraising. So some of the programs that we offer, we're very focused on peer recovery coaching, which means that individuals come in, they do a brief intake, and they work with a peer recovery coach to work on a recovery plan. And that's different for everybody. So we are meeting everyone exactly where they are. We're very lucky to be in many different places within the community. The beeping that you heard earlier was actually our pagers going off. We are on call with Copley Hospital 24/7, 365. So if someone is presenting at Copley with a substance use issue, we have a coach who goes up there and connects with them and does a lot of resource navigation and just tries to help them within their recovery journey. We do have a Parents in Recovery program. We have a beautiful space at our center where children feel safe. We are a Vermont Food Bank donor. We just finished up our first cohort with People's Academy with a youth program that we actually held at the local library, so it was a neutral location. And we are always offering friendly community substance-free events at the center. That's open to the entire public. So if you have not been to the Recovery Center, I strongly encourage you to stop by and just get a feel. There's a lot of stigma that still goes on with substance use, but I assure you we're an amazing group of people. Our team is absolutely amazing. One of our newest additions to the Recovery Center is we launched a 24/7 community health vending machine, which is located right outside the front of our building, which unfortunately you can't see from the road, but I encourage you to stop by. We received a grant, so this vending machine provides harm reduction products, including naloxone. That's free to the public. You just have to go up and dispense it, and it's available 24/7. There is so much more that we're doing. I know I'm not thinking of everything, but we do have an annual report. We do offer over 70 support group meetings a month. We produce a monthly calendar, so we have these available as well. But if you have not spoken with us, you're just interested in learning more about what we do or becoming a board member or volunteering, there's plenty of opportunity. We really are honored to be working in this community. We served over close to 6,000 visits to our recovery center. So we're just thankful for your support again this year. Thank you.
And our last presenter is Robin Pierce from Habitat for Humanity.
Good morning. I'd like to thank Judy Bickford for signing me up for this. She's a board member for Habitat. So far, we've built 3 homes in Morristown. Morristown is a priority for us. Up until last year, Habitat were building perhaps 2 to 3 homes a year. Now our goal is to build 10 homes a year. Every home we build, we sell. We sell for what they cost us, and they're perpetually affordable. So it doesn't just help one family, it'll help another family and another family and family long after I'm no longer here. Most recently, we sold a home at 11 Olive Street to a Navy veteran and her family. And they moved in, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, it's actually a beautiful home. We've been working with the select board on a piece of land just across from the library. There used to be a mobile home on it, I believe, a long time ago. And we're hoping to build a single-family home, another 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I've left some business cards at the sign-in desk for Nye, our home services person. She's always looking for new families to get them on board to move in. We're always looking for volunteers. the reason we can keep our houses so inexpensive compared to most others is we work with volunteers, and we're always looking for more. We do create, I like to say, little micro economic climates, because we always hire an electrician, plumber, skill sets that most volunteers don't bring in. So we are community builders. We're also looking now at having homes that have wheelchair accessible bathrooms in them. So if your neighbour comes, has a Guinness, if they're lucky, they don't have to go home to go to the bathroom, come back to your house again. So we're really expanding the community as far as we can. We've asked the select board for $1,000. We hope that goes through. And we're looking forward to building the next house in Morristown, hopefully next year. Thank you.
Thanks to all of the presenters. So now we'll hear from Don McDowell, who will give us the town report dedication.
Thank you, Shap. So thank you all for sticking around for this important presentation. In years past, the town report dedications usually come out with the town report, but this year we thought with Pi Day and all of us here that we should make the dedication now. I just need to thank a few people before I read this dedication. I want to make sure I thank Jane Payne, Sandy Hamill, Kelly Smith, and Kristen Smith, who helped me tremendously with some of this background information. I'm responsible for the information, though, I will say that. I'm not gonna, if anything's not quite right here. The 2025 town report dedication goes to Lorinda and Dennis Smith. Lorinda and Dennis Smith represent what is best about community life, civic engagement, and service. Few individuals embody the spirit of Morristown more fully, and it is with great appreciation that the town dedicates the 2025 annual town report in their honor. Both Lorinda Draper and Dennis Smith are lifelong Morristown residents. They were born at Copley Hospital, raised in Morristown, educated locally, and both graduated from People's Academy, Lorinda in 1968 and Dennis in 1967. The two were married shortly thereafter in 1969. Together they raised two children, Mickey and Kelly, and are now proud grandparents to 3 granddaughters. Following their marriage, Lorinda pursued a career in healthcare, studying to become a nurse's aide and beginning her professional life at the Dumont Nursing Home. She later earned her LNA, Licensed Nursing Assistant credential, and went on to serve the community through a 21-year career with Lamoille Home Health and Hospice, that we've already heard from today. Throughout her career, Lorinda dedicated herself to caring for the sick and elderly, developing a deep compassion and understanding for individuals and families, navigating end-of-life care. Dennis pursued his education at the Vermont Technical College in Randolph, Vermont, and graduated in 1969. He worked as an electronics test technician at Siemens Precision and later at General Electric in Burlington, before returning to Morristown. Upon his return, Dennis worked in a variety of roles, including employment at several auto parts stores in Morrisville and at Copley Hospital in materials management. Perhaps the Smiths' most lasting contribution to Morristown, though, has been their involvement with the Morristown Cemetery Association. Dennis followed in the footsteps of his parents in this work. His father, Charles Smith, was elected a trustee of the Randolph Cemetery in 1980, later serving as vice president in 1985 and president in 1989. Dennis's mother, Annette Smith, was elected endowment secretary in 1989 and faithfully served in that role until 2018. Dennis was elected as a trustee at the Randolph Cemetery in 2002. He began work on updating the cemetery rules and regulations in 2005 and has continued this effort ever since. He was elected vice president of the association in 2008 and president in 2012, serving in that capacity until his resignation in December of 2025, just last month. Lorinda was also an active and dedicated member of the Morristown Cemetery Association during these same years. Over the years, Dennis worked closely with longtime sexton Mark Faith and current sexton Mike Buchanan. He's played an integral role in mapping new burial lots across the town's 7 cemeteries, including the development of cremation-only sections. Dennis also worked closely with the town clerk's office to establish more efficient and accurate systems for documenting lot sales and interments. While serving specifically as a trustee of the Randolph Cemetery, he maintained a watchful eye over all town cemeteries, identifying needed maintenance such as tree work, road repairs, fencing, and historical stone preservation. Beyond their work with the Cemetery Association, Dennis served as a member of the Morristown Fire Department for 20 years, while Lorinda served on the Firemen's Auxiliary. Both Dennis and Lorinda have been actively involved in their church community. Dennis is a member of the Knights of Columbus, and Lorinda, a member of St. Vincent de Paul Society. In addition to their civic and professional contributions, Lorinda and Dennis share a love of the outdoors and adventure. They are well known for their enthusiasm for geocaching, an activity that combines technology, exploration, and problem solving. Together, they have logged approximately 4,000 geocache finds across the country. The town of Morristown is deeply honored to dedicate the 2025 annual town report to Lorinda and Dennis. Through decades of service, commitment, and quiet leadership, they have become pillars of the community. Their legacy of dedication has left and continues to leave an indelible mark on Morristown.
Okay, so congratulations, very well deserved. We will now proceed to what everybody has been waiting for, the dog tag drawing for number 1. Sarah?
Shap, we really don't have many entries. Are there people here that haven't signed their dogs up yet? Can we pause for 2 or 3 minutes?
We can pause, yes. There are a couple of other things that we can talk about. One, I know it's a year out, but mark your calendars because next year's Community Meeting Day Pie for Breakfast will be held on Saturday, January 9th, 2027, from 8 a.m. to noon. And also, when you leave today, there are some pies left over, and they can be taken. We'd ask, although it's not required, that donations will be appreciated, and they'll all support the trip to Europe for the soccer club. Anyone willing to help put cheers away, please help. And then, we've got the space for a little while longer, so if people want to stay. I just am going to take a point of personal privilege here while we're waiting. In this day and age where things seem complicated and sometimes it's easy to get down about what's happening in the world and the pressures that we all face, I know that I find these kinds of settings and these kind of meetings reaffirming. Because although many of us here have different views about the world and about how we might successfully navigate it, we're all here together. We live in the community together. We're all invested in it being a successful community. We may have different ways about how we get there, but we all care deeply about this community. I know that Melissa and I moved back here 26 years ago because we saw the potential for our children, who weren't born yet, but the potential to grow along with the community. And we've watched that happen in the 26 years that we've been here. It's a place of dynamic change. We sometimes yearn for the days of yore and how it was always done. But it has to be a place of dynamic change if we're going to grow along with the world. And it is going to be different, but that doesn't mean it's going to be any less amazing place to live. I just think about a rail trail that was conceptualized and was built, and the many developments that have come into the town recently. I can tell you as somebody who still spends a lot of time around the state, people are impressed about what we're doing in this community and like sort of our can-do attitude. And I just wanted to share that with you and just tell you that I'm amazingly proud to be a member of this community and to serve as your moderator and have had the opportunity to serve in other capacities. So there's a lot to be hopeful about. Difficult conversations today, but we're moving in the right direction. So end of my preaching.
Thank you, Shap.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And I did not sign up. I just want to be clear. Lisa Zinn Clover is number 1 this year. All right, so that completes the meeting, and thanks, and I'll see you next year.